Yo, fam, you know what? Just stop what you're doing right now because we need to talk. Yes, we do need to talk because a lot has been happening in our club this week and we really need to talk. So stop whatever you are doing right now and let's just get it into it. This is no longer about tactics, y'all. This is no longer about formations, and this is definitely no longer about substitutions and all that. Because what just happened this week, that was fracture. The captain spoke, the family spoke, and the institution's response was actually a response non response. Bruno Fernandes is saying the club wanted him gone. Kobbie Mainoo's own blood is wearing protest merch in the stands. That is not noise, guys. That is not noise. That, my friends, is pressure boiling over. And Old Trafford isn't arguing about football anymore. It's arguing about who the club actually belongs to. The time when we had an eight goal thriller at OTZ. The time when we have scored 4 goals and Bournemouth scored 4 more goals to equalize and make it an 8 goal thriller. 4-4 tie. We are not talking about football. We are arguing about who actually owns the club. Welcome to United Public Square. Y'all know what time it is. And this episode isn't reactionary. This is forensics. Because two things happened this week, y'all, that officially has changed the temperature of the club, that officially has changed the temperature at Manchester United this very week. Let's start with Captain Bruno Fernandes. In his interview, I'm sure you all have had wind of it and all that, but in his interview, actually, Bruno is telling us that the fans did not want him gone. He did not say that the manager wanted him gone, right? He said the club hierarchy explored selling him to Saudi Arabia and backed off because Amarim stepped in. Just let it sink in for a minute. That is what Bruno is saying. And then he dropped the grenade. Bruno was questioning whether the people upstairs had the courage to stand for sports values over money. That is not a player moaning. That's the captain drawing a red line. That is him drawing a line in the sand. Before we go any further, quick temperature check right now in the chat and all that. Type yes or no in the chat. Do you trust the people currently running Manchester United right now? I want a quick yes or no in the chat, guys. Just a quick yes or no, right? Because we all know what is happening. Before we go any further, I just need to dissect this one, figure it out if the people running the club have the best interest of the fans and the Manchester United fandom globally. You know what I'm saying? Do you trust the people running Manchester United right now? And if you're watching this thinking he should have kept this private, say that in the chat too. Let me know. Say that in the chat. I do disagree, but say it in the chat that you do not agree with Bruno, washing his dirty linen in public. But again, where I got confused a bit is that in the summer, Bruno also gave an interview where he said that the club do not need to sell him in order to raise fans to support the club, and that Bruno is fully backing the project, and that he is supporting whatever Amorim was doing, and he loves the club. So to come out in November to make this bold claim that the leadership is not bold enough, right? The leadership is just not bold enough to make the call to let you go to Saudi. That's me like scratching my head and figuring out like what is Bruno saying. He is a bit contradictory at a minute because just a couple of months ago, Bruno was telling us that he is so much in love with the club that the club does not need to sell him in order to raise funds to back the project, and he is fully supporting the project. So for Bruno to come out in October, in November, like just last month or a couple of weeks ago, and this interview understood he did it at Carrington, and Bruno feels that he feels a bit hurt that the club was not taking a strong position, that they did not want him gone. Every player do have a price. But in the case of Bruno, they gave him so much respect and said the ball is in your court. You can make the decision. Eventually, we all saw that Bruno stayed. So that's like a non-starter, right? We already have had this conversation before. We already know Bruno's stance before. So for this one to come out in the public, I felt like, timing is everything. And, it was really ill-timed. And why not? Like the press and the agenda, really, they want the right time to create a lot of buzz, to take things viral and all that. So that's exactly what they did. And then they released this week, and we are all scrambling, trying to figure out what actually Bruno said. But we already knew 95% of what he said in summer. And so this is no news, but Manchester United, a global brand, whatever drops, it's gonna 10x, it's gonna ratio every news out there. So that's exactly what happened. And then we have the Mainoo symbolism as well. And then we all know what happened. And that came like this image of his brother that broke the internet. Kobbie Mainoo's brother, Jordan Mainoo Hames, right, wearing a free Kobbie shirt in public on OTZ grounds, like on Old Trafford grounds. Like, dude, what are you doing? And then obviously the media is going to run with it. Disrespect is what they are saying. Undermining the manager is also what they are saying. But to me, I say no. That is not really rebellion. This is just projection, y'all. Because we as fans, we are pouring every ounce of hope, every ounce of fear, and every ounce of frustration into a 20-year-old kid, because we do not trust the system around him. That's what actually is happening right here. But the media tangent is taking it on disrespect for the manager and all that. And that's pressure, not protest. If you ask me, that is pressure and not protest. And to be honest, let's just deep it for a minute. Let's just think about this for a second, y'all. Look at this, right? Tell me, be honest with me. Does the shirt feel protective? This shirt that I'm showing on screen, does it feel protective or does it feel dangerous? Type protective or dangerous in the chat. Let me know how you feel about it. Just type protective or dangerous in the chat. Let me know how y'all feel about it. And by the way, if you want the deeper version of this conversation, the stuff that doesn't really fit into YouTube and all that, that goes into the UPS email list. You can sign up. It's in the description and all that. Quiet thing. We are not bigging it up at the minute, but you can always sign up for our newsletter where we break things down more and more. And so now this is the time where we have to bring in JAH-AI also. JAH-AI is waiting in the wings and he's got the receipts. So I need to bring JAH-AI in the mix. And y'all, if you do not know JAH-AI, JAH-AI is our resident agentic AI co-host that we have here on United Public Square. We are the only channel that do a collaboration with a live agentic. So we are going to bring in JAH-AI. So JAH-AI, take it away, bro.
All right. Before we go any further, let me say this slowly. This week broke football Twitter. It broke WhatsApp groups. It broke group chats that haven't spoken since 2013. And honestly, it almost broke me. Let's start with the Bruno situation, because the club's response matters as much as the interview itself. United sources say Bruno Fernandes is central to the long-term plan. That's not a denial. That's PR yoga. Because notice what they didn't say. They didn't say, we never considered selling him. They didn't say, No Saudi bid was discussed. They didn't say, this is categorically false. They said, central. And in football language, that word can mean everything, or absolutely nothing, which tells us one thing very clearly. There isn't full agreement inside the building. Now here's where Bruno's frustration stops being emotional and starts being measurable. When you zoom out over United's pressing and tempo data over the last month, Bruno is still operating at near elite intensity. His off-ball work rate? Consistent. His defensive recoveries? Consistent. His forward pressing triggers? Still elite. But the players around him? That drop-off is real. High-tempo support actions around Bruno have dipped by almost 20% in key phases. That's not opinion. That's pattern. Translation? He's still sprinting. The system around him is jogging. So when he says, some people don't care enough, yeah, the numbers quietly back him up. And that's where this gets uncomfortable. Because when your captain starts sounding less like a motivator and more like a diagnosis, that's not noise, that's fatigue. Now let's talk about the shirt, because this is where people completely lose the plot. Free Kobbie is not a tactical instruction. It's not a coaching manual. It's not a lineup demand. It's a message. Kobbie Mainoo, at 20 years old, is already one of the safest midfielders United have in possession. Ball retention? Elite. Decision-making under pressure? Elite. Progressive movement from deep? Needed. Desperately. When he plays, the midfield breathes. When he doesn't, it panics. That's not hype. That's tape. Which explains why fans don't say, develop Kobbie. They say, free him. But here's the danger, and this part matters. Public pressure, even when justified, changes the environment. Now every Kobbie appearance is loaded. Every omission becomes a headline. Every mistake gets magnified. That's how development turns into survival. And we've seen this movie before, at United and elsewhere. Talent doesn't fail first. The environment does. So let's be precise, because precision matters. This is not a dressing room mutiny. This is not a family attacking the manager. This is not chaos for the sake of chaos. This is what happens when trust fractures. Captain speaks publicly. Family signals symbolically. Club responds. Vaguely. That's not coincidence. That's pressure. Jerry, I've laid out the facts. I've iced the emotion. You take it from here, before someone prints free everyone shirts by next week.
Do not even try that JAH-AI. Do not try printing a free JAH-AI shirt. If you do, I am going to provide a version 2.0. I'm going to upgrade you, agentic, and I'm going to unalive you out of this show. So do not even think about that. But yo, thanks JAH-AI for all the receipts, for all the context, for all the deep dive and all that. I really appreciate y'all insight on this JAH-AI. Thank you so much. And now that's the part, right, that we as fans feel in the chest, but we cannot always articulate it. So I appreciate you bringing the receipts and coming that way across. Thank you so much. And I can already see in the chat that some of you feel this deeply and some of you really do not. That's fine. Let it go and let it just make sense for a bit. Let it just deep it for a minute and see if JAH-AI is coming across properly. And if JAH-AI really cooked, just type in the chat, JAH-AI cooked. So we've reached this stage now, guys, where captains talk like whistleblowers. Can you imagine that? And teenagers carry institutions and hopes on their backs. And here's the part that we as fans should be really, really be scared of for the people upstairs. While we are all here just trying to figure it out, make sense of it all, and try to see who plays and who does not play, Manchester United is about to lose the players who are actually playing. Amad Diallo, I call him Amad the Magician, Masraoui, aka Masweezy, and Brian Imbumo, all confirmed, leaving or have left for AFCON. That's the African engine right there. And it's walking out the door while we are fighting fires inside the house. If you did not even clock that, how that big it is right now, just type it. Now I see it. And I can relate with that. But before anything else, guys, before anything else, I just want to hear from you. Does the free Kobe moment force Amorim's hand? Do you think it does force Amorim's hand? Or does he Amorim have an impossible task right now? Because the game we played against Bournemouth, right? The second part of that interview, the embargoed part, about 95% of that interview was about Kobe and why he's not playing and why the English media really thinks that he should play over Casemiro and all that. And so now with this free Kobe moment, this is going to force Amorim's hand. It's going to bring a lot of scrutiny and all that, even on Friday's press conference. And I expect Amorim, he is very good at communication and all that. I hope he really handles it well. At the interview, he's going to say, yo, we've had a conversation with Kobe. Every player is actually treated equally and all that. If you train well, you're going to play based on the game, based on the opposition. End of discussion. So that's it. I don't really want to extend this conversation into the next week and all that. So yo, Amorim, if you're listening, just make it snappy and do not entertain the mainstream media about this Kobbie Mainoo agenda. There's nothing to see here. There's no problems at all. So free Kobe or not, we are all locked. We are Manchester United fans, and we are back in this project. Next week, we do go global. And you be asking, why do we go global? Because episode 7 is about respect or the lack of it. AFCON, African Cup of Nations, African football. And why is it always treated like an inconvenience instead of a powerhouse? That's what we are going to be talking about next week. So, yeah, stay tuned and stay locked in. And in the meantime, if you think that Bruno is saying what the fans have been thinking, you know what to do in the chat. Let me know, guys. Just let me know. And if you also want football, right, in soccer, because depending on where you are in this part of the world, it's either soccer or football. So if you want football soccer with context, not just the noise, smash that subscribe button. This is United Pulse, emotions first, context always, pure vibes, no filters. United Public Square. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.